Welcome to the second part of the video. I hope you liked the first part, Jimmy is with you. As always, do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and we are starting. The first story of the second part will be from the user Mervcry. Let's listen. Hey guys, I deeply apologize if this gets a bit lengthy. It's something I really need to get off my chest. My boyfriend and I have been dating for almost 2 years now beforehand. We were good friends throughout high school. Anyhow, when we started dating, everything was wonderful. Especially since he's my first for everything. Once I moved in with him, that's when things got sour. It all started when he got a job as a tattoo apprentice, which didn't pay before he left that place because of transportation issues and the fact he wasn't getting anywhere. He was literally there from opening to closing every day except Wednesdays. So, of course, that bothered the crap out of me. Since I worry about his well-being and that place was draining the life out him, I tried my best to give him love and support for him pursuing his passions, but it got to the point where he wasn't eating, was sleep-deprived, and running on fumes. That's when I couldn't take it anymore. When I tried to reason with him and voice my concerns, it always led to an argument. At one point we had petty disputes nearly every day because of that place. Not to mention that I started having terrible mental breakdowns at night from PTSD. My family did to me and him not being there emotionally, which added more stress on us. Eventually, he quit that job and moved on to the next. But there was still that tension between us. However, I always tried my best to resolve things and lighten the mood. But it's difficult since he gets stressed easily. After a couple of months, things cool down. I thought we were finally over with that rough patch, until one day he was staying in the bathroom for an unusual time frame. Changed his passcode on his phone, so naturally I took action and confronted him, in which he denies everything and reassures me. There's nothing to worry about, I know better than that. So I waited until he went to bed that night and I was able to unlock his phone after the 5 try of guessing. That's when my heart completely dropped. He was messaged 2 girls talking about how our relationship wasn't going to last long and how he was going to give them what they always wanted. Sending pictures, he even went in depth on how he was planning to tell me. I need to go to work earlier today because of reason. In reality, he was going to hook up with one of those lowlifes who are also cheating on their partners. Not to mention one of them is a jailbird who has her cop brother bail her out. Every time I took photos of everything for evidence, then proceeded to have the biggest mental breakdown of my life, which woke him up, and that's when I showed him his phone. Through my cries, I told him how he's been neglecting me emotionally or physically, how he always puts the blame on me and can't take responsibility for his actions, how he's the one keeping us in this vicious cycle of a toxic relationship. He started crying. It was the first time I have ever seen him cry like that. We just sat on the bed, crying in between his sobs. He kept saying he spoiled everything. He doesn't deserve me. And how this is the first time he ever done something that horrible, which he regrets deeply. This all happened at the very end of May, after I gave him forgiveness. Everything afterwards was okay, and he slowly showed improvement. During mid-July, I had a bad gut feeling and went on his phone only to find him messaging that jailbird again, asking to hook up. Luckily, she told him to off. But still, he even told her not to worry about me because he unfollows and deletes all the messages. Obviously, he screwed by forgetting to delete that convo. Yet again, I went off on him and lost my mind, only for him to say that those were old messages. And whatever. Those messages were from 3 weeks ago, shaking my head. The same thing happened again, of me crying, telling him off, and putting him back in line. Fast forward now, he has reverted back to his old lovable self from before, trying his best to make things up by buying me stuff, cheering me up and doing everything I say. I don't know if I should be relieved or happy now that the ordeal is finally over. Deep down, I still feel such a heavy heartache. I truly love him and want the absolute best. He's everything to me, but I'm so scared he might pull that stunt again. I don't know what I would do if this ever happens again, especially if he goes beyond texting. Author edited the story. Thanks everyone for your helpful comments. Honestly, this situation is quite tricky since I'm living with him and have nowhere to go, as well as the fact honest to God, do love him to death. From what I've seen so far, he has been getting better. I'm willing to give him one more chance if he does it again. No more tears, I'll figure something out to get out. What I think about this story. I am so sorry this happened to you. This is definitely a terrible feeling, and I can totally relate. The only advice I have is to leave. You can't spend the rest of your relationship being insecure, wondering if he's still cheating. It's gonna suck because you love him and care for him so much. But trust me, it's for the best. You'll find your next love, and he will treat you how you deserve to be treated. Best of luck, babe. User ThunderUp commented this story. Drop that dude in a heartbeat, run away. This is extremely toxic, and your relationship will never be the same. He'll just get sneakier and sneakier about his actions. Take it from someone who didn't leave and is paying for it. The author replied to the user, "It's so difficult to leave him, since he's the only person that I've ever care or love in my life. Another thing to add, he has mental health issues, depression, anxiety. So he probably did what he did as a coping mechanism for stress. Even though that's no excuse, he has a tendency to not think straight under pressure and overall be an airhead. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt one last time since I'm helping him cope with stress in a better light. But what he did previously still hurts a lot." The next story will be from Educational Law. User Let's Listen. My friend Anna and I were talking about her dating life. Anna is an incredibly beautiful woman, and she could have her pick of men. She broke up with her boyfriend because she was out of his league, and he knew it. He would act in insecure ways. Anna stated that she didn't want to settle for someone less than the best. She asked me, "Why would anyone settle?" and brought up my marriage as a positive example of love. I told her that my husband settled for me, and he wasn't attracted to me, and we still had a happy marriage, being settled for. Isn't the worst thing in the world my husband Alan and I are happily married high school sweethearts. He was heavily bullied in middle and high school. When I moved into his hometown in sophomore year, I stood up for him. By the end of senior year, he had friends and he asked me to prom. 10 years later, we are happily married. However, I know that my husband doesn't find me attractive. I'm naturally taller and more muscular than the average woman. It's a huge insecurity of mine. A year after we married, my husband drunkenly confessed that he didn't find me attractive. He prefers petite women with delicate facial features. But he was grateful for what I did and felt obliged to thank me, which is why he asked me out to prom, why we dated throughout college, why he proposed. He still loved me very much but wasn't attracted to me. The next morning, he was hungover and had forgotten his confession. He doesn't drink much because he doesn't have a filter and tells the unvarnished truth. I felt crushed, but our marriage was very good. Otherwise, I never told him what he said that night. He was a great husband. I don't think most men are attracted to the way I look anyways. I explained this all to Anna, and she was grateful for the advice. That night, Alan started crying. He was crying silently, but I woke up, I hugged him and asked what was wrong, and he admitted he overheard our conversation. I didn't expect him to overhear since I was in the basement, but he heard his name and decided to listen in. I apologized for hurting his feelings, but it just made him sob harder. I don't know what I did wrong, or if I did anything wrong, AT. Author edited the story. I wasn't advising Anna to settle. She would never be happy settling for someone. I just told her that settling isn't the worst thing in the world, and my marriage is one of settlement. My husband settled for me, and we're happy. My advice was to stay true to herself and her beliefs. If she's not happy, then the relationship can't move forward. User Chance Lavishness commented this story. You didn't do anything wrong. You've handled this much more kindly and gracefully than is reasonable to expect from anyone. What he's going through right now is 100% about his feelings and nothing to do with anything you've done wrong. He may finally be processing what it means to both of you, for him to have felt that was communicated it, then forgotten, and lived with the secret that wasn't actually secret. There's probably sadness, grief for what could have been in a few different directions, guilt, shame, unworthiness of the love you offer. All sorts of feelings would be swirling. I saw in another comment that you plan to bring it up with him tomorrow. I would suggest that you actually give him notice tomorrow and ask him to set a time to discuss it so he can gather his thoughts. You could say something like, "I've noticed you're struggling and you're resisting talking about this, but we need to talk it through. Whatever you're feeling about it, I want to know and I want to work through whatever it means for us. I've shown you that I'll still love you and be there for you. Since hearing it, please be there for me and tell me what's happening for you. It doesn't have to be now, but we need to talk about it. Do you want to talk now or on Saturday afternoon or whatever? Would be a suitable time that gives him a few days to think things through or gather his thoughts. Then when you've set a time, drop it fully until then. Go about your days. Don't try to comfort or discuss it unless he brings it up. Just let him process how he needs to. If he can't talk about it, you need to get into couples therapy with individual sessions first so he can get it all out without fears of hurting you more with poorly chosen words. NTA. But honestly, you deserve better than this. It's your call if you accept it, which you clearly have until now, but you're a beautiful soul, and someone out there would find you incredibly attractive. There are 8 billion of us. You're someone's cup of tea. Maybe it doesn't matter that much to you, but it isn't impossible, and you do deserve to feel desired and attractive. Author update the story. Hello, I'm back with a short update. I got a lot of messages on my post, and it was a bit overwhelming. I want to say I am a people pleaser, not just for my husband, but for my friends and family too. I want them to be happy. I love my husband and want the best for him. We are very monogamous, and I value fidelity. We had sessions of couples therapy, and he now has a personal therapist. It was surprisingly easy to find someone that suited us. But I did pay a lot of money for our sessions, but they left me feeling baffled. Our counselor was a no-nonsense but comforting older woman. We went through our life, how he was bullied, how we met, how we married, our careers. I told her about how he had drunkenly told me he wasn't attracted to me, but that didn't matter because we loved each other, and I don't know what made him upset. She asked us honestly if we wouldn't be happier as best friends, but married to other people, Alan adamantly said no. She brought up affection, vulgar life, those things. We told her we had an active, vulgar life with a couple quirks and we're very affectionate, which she focused on. She basically said someone is lying at some point because you can't have all of those things together. She asked Alan to walk through his attraction and he snapped and said he didn't want to talk of having disgusting or bad thoughts about me. It was a very long conversation after, and I'm still confused. But essentially he thought that anyone sexualizing or having those kinds of thoughts about me was bad. Especially other people. He loved me for me. It wasn't even about me being his wife or me being a woman or those common things. He thought anyone who had thoughts about me was bad and I should be protected from them. Alan told the counselor that I was too soft and gentle and pure to think that there are bad thoughts about me and bad people. I've never heard that before from anyone. I told our counselor nothing bad has happened to me. I was worried if Alan had trauma in his past that made him wary of others since he had been bullied so viciously in school. But he said that I was thinking of him again, and I should think about myself. He said, I still didn't realize that the world is scary for me. The counselor asked about any guilt he felt about attraction, and he broke down. A couple of years ago, I had intensive surgery, and Alan helped me with everything even. Eating, showering, and getting around. He confessed that when he helped me with bathing or dressing me, he accidentally looked more than he should, and he could feel that I was starting to realize he was having those thoughts about me and shut down. I don't really remember that, but he's my husband. I didn't, and don't mind if he looks. He talked about how much he loves me and wants to spend the rest of his life with me. My counselor said, I have grown up to think of others' wants and desires above my own. And I do have people-pleasing tendencies. But on the whole, I'm pretty mentally healthy. I got a few booklets and packets to fill out. My husband was told he needed intensive therapy as soon as possible. He had his first session a few days ago. I don't know where this is going or what happened to make him think the way he does. He didn't grow up in a religious environment. His parents are very affectionate and have a strong marriage. I still love and support my husband. That's what I think about it. Honestly, you just seem like a really wonderful person. I personally have an extensive trauma history. And the two best predictors of recovery are a strong therapeutic alliance with your therapist and a strong support structure. If your husband is finally in therapy and taking it seriously, there is no doubt in my mind that he will heal from this, whatever the root of it is. I wish you both the absolute best. If you feel comfortable doing so, please update us at some point in the future. So today's stories have come to an end. I hope you liked them. Do not forget to write comments under the video. I will definitely read them. Thank you for your attention. I love you all.